What's up, everybody, and welcome into College Basketball Countdown. I am your host, Jeff Nadeau, aka the Big Man on Campus, and we are live on Pub Sports Radio. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button. Welcome in. I'm usually here every Saturday morning breaking down the college basketball card, but we figured it's Selection Sunday. The brackets are out, and we're going to start filling it in here live on the show. We're going to go through every matchup. I'm going to tell you who I think wins. We're going to pick our brackets all the way to the end. We'll also include a lot of ATS talk as well. Who do I like early here as we kind of take our first looks at the bracket? Bracket was released about 3 hours ago. Got a lot of very interesting matchups. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. And, we'll get right to it. Say hello in the chat if you're out there. Again, I know it's obviously a different year, right? Or a different time. So, maybe our normal people aren't here, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure people will join as we get going here. And as you can see, we got our boy Jose behind the scenes, and he is going to control the clicking here. So this is going to be fun, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Mike, Steve G, Julian, Sam, EQ, Brandon, what's up? Shout out to all of you. A lot going on here. And I know that a lot of people are just going to kind of find maybe this stream for the first time. Maybe they didn't handicap college basketball the entire season. It was a wild couple of days in conference tournaments. I got to tell you, I'm kind of happy conference tournaments are over. I did not have a great conference tournament season. And hopefully the tables turn a little bit for me as we head into the tournament. So without further ado, let's get into it here. We're going to start up at the top. The overall number one seed is the UConn Huskies, obviously the defending champs. We obviously know how talented they are. They take on Stetson. They are the champions of the Atlantic Sun Conference. Look, keep in mind, we are picking this bracket straight up, okay? But again, I'm going to include my thoughts in the line itself. Connecticut's a big favorite. They're going to be, I think they're like 25, 26 here. Look, Stetson is a decently electric team. Blackman's a good player. Steven Swenson's a good player. Donnie Jones is a good coach. They're going to try to dirty this game up, keep it in the half court. This is a very large ask, though. They're not going to win this game, as we know. UConn's going to move on. So we can automatically advance them. That's going to be, a very simple selection. This is where it gets interesting. The 8-9 here, we obviously have FAU and Northwestern. Now, look, I got to tell you, I'm surprised that FAU is in this field. I didn't think they belonged. They had a 92nd best schedule. They only had 2 quad one wins. They had bad losses to Bryant, Florida Gulf Coast, Charlotte, Temple, a team that lost by double digits in the conference tournament final. FAU didn't belong in this tournament. That said, they're here, and now they take on Northwestern. Look, this is a real flip game. And, I think sometimes when we look at brackets, we worry too much about getting every pick right, when in essence, this game to me doesn't mean very much. I don't care about it. If I win it, I win it. I don't care about it in my bracket per se, because neither of these teams is going to beat UConn. So I don't really worry too much about it. I think we put way too much time in 8-9 games when generally they're coin flips. And unless you see a team like an FAU or Northwestern advancing to a deep spot in the tournament, they really don't mean much. Northwestern dealing with some injuries. Obviously, Ty Berry had some problems. One of their bigs also was injured late in the season. We know that it's very difficult for teams in the Big Ten to win when it's not in their building. I do think FAU will win this game. It's a coin flip, and to me, it's not going to be a game I'm betting. I don't think, again, it has much a bearing in a tournament pool either, because I don't think FAU is going to, or Northwestern is going to beat UConn. So we'll pick FAU for the sake of, I do think they'll probably win, but look, they have defensive issues. They've had defensive issues all year. This is a team that, look, quite frankly, played down the competition a lot. They need to focus and get together, because now it's the big time. No more screwing around. They're here. They made it. Now it's time to show that they belong. Again, doesn't matter much to me, though. Timmy Tushu says, I've been a big fan since your MLS MLB or MLS, a Bet US MLB show. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Ryan Jacobs says your picks suck and always have. Well, hey, thanks for watching, though. You're here. So I must be doing something right. Kenny Wu says, I know you've had a rough year betting hoops. I've agreed all year. Yeah, listen, look, we've all talked about it. I haven't had a great year. It's how it goes. I haven't had a good year in general. My entire life hasn't been particularly good with losing my dad and stuff, but it is what it is. You got to pick it up and move on. That said, let's get to the next one here. San Diego State, UAB. Interesting game here. UAB, obviously the unlikely champions of the AAC. We saw them obviously take care of Temple, and I felt like they got a little lucky there. But look, they beat South Florida. That was an impressive game. UAB, very downhill, very up and down. Obviously a team that at times can struggle. San Diego State, kind of the polar opposite. They want to play in the half court. They want to kind of bleed you to death in the half court defensively. This would be, I think, some people will look at it, and I don't know if there's going to be a lot of upsets in this one. I think a lot of people will kind of look at these 5-12s and say upset, upset, upset. I don't think this is an upset. San Diego State generally, I know a lot of people last year picked against San Diego State. They like Charleston. San Diego State will do a good job at slowing UAB down. They won't let them run up and down here. Listen, Alejandro Vasquez is a really good player, but San Diego State has enough bigs to deal with him. I think they make this into a half-court game, and I think they get the job done. I think San Diego State will advance in this one. Next one, Auburn and Yale. Yale, here they are again. It's amazing. James Jones, a hell of a coach. Matt Nolan, the buzzer beater today. I don't know what Brown was doing on that final possession there, but Yale's in for yet another year. And we saw, obviously, what Princeton was able to do in this tournament last season. I don't think Auburn has much issue here. That said, they better be prepared because Yale is not going to be run off the court athletically. They have a couple of kids that are really tough. They play good defense, and Nolan can score, man. He's a good player. Auburn, though, has a lot of length. They can kind of I think one of the things lost about Auburn is how good they are defensively. It's going to be very difficult for Yale, I think, to kind of – they may keep it close for maybe a half, but I think Auburn will find a way to pull away. They're going to advance in this one. And that sets up a pretty interesting game between San Diego State and Auburn in the next round. BYU Duquesne. Okay, this is an interesting game. A lot of people were surprised that Duquesne won the A-10. Obviously, I was. But look, when we saw all the big boys go down, like Dayton and Richmond, it was going to be anybody's tournament. And it seemed like, at least to me, that game today was personal for Duquesne. If you actually look into it, Jimmy Clark was at VCU for a couple of years. He transferred to Duquesne. Seems like they really rallied around him. You look at him, he had a decent game today. Had 4 steals, 9 points. He was definitely an important cog. I mean, they only scored 57 points, and he had 9. He was their second best scorer. Look, Duquesne is not a pretty team to watch from an offensive standpoint, but they're a tough defensive team. And I'll tell you right now, they're one of the best three-point defenses in the country. They have the best three-point defense in this conference. They're long and lengthy. They have a kid on this team called Fusiane Drame. He was a kid that came out of the country of Mali. He was at St. Peter's for a lot of years, him and his brother, Hassan Drame. He's now at Duquesne. The kid is long and lengthy. He's a shot-blocking extraordinaire. They're long and lengthy, man. Think of St. Peter's. They're kind of a little bit better version of St. Peter's. I'm going to tell you right now, BYU better watch out here. This is a tough Duquesne team. This is going to be my first upset. I think BYU is too three-point reliant. Look, if the three-pointers go in, they'll beat anybody. But if they're not, they can lose to anybody. I think Duquesne pulls off an upset here. I think this is a decent 6-11 matchup. Duquesne is playing great basketball. They are well coached. I like Duquesne. I think they pull an upset here in my first of the tournament. Next one, Illinois Moorhead. Obviously, Moorhead, we kind of forgot about them. They were the first team to punch their ticket to the dance almost a week ago. Moorhead is out of the Ohio Valley Conference. This was not one of the better Ohio Valley Conference seasons. Moorhead is a team also very much like to play in the half court, good defensively. And Riley Minix is a hell of a player for them. That said, Illinois is playing some of the best basketball in the country right now. Terrence Shannon is on another level. They have so many kids, whether it's him or Domask or Coleman Hawkins. I mean, they're just stacked. I think Moorhead could keep this one interesting for a little bit, just because, you know, I think defensively they are solid, and they'll take some time for a little bit to break this down. Throw in, look, Illinois has issues on the defensive end. It's something we have to talk about. That said, I think they'll take care of Moorhead State here and get the job done. We're going to put on Illinois to advance to the next round. Towards the bottom of the bracket, kind of a flippy game.
Could you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
What was that?
Could you repeat that pick one more time? Sorry, I missed.
Illinois. Illinois, yes. Okay, Washington State and Drake, your classic 10-7 matchup here. This was, to me, the toughest game in this field. I really like both of these teams. I think Tucker DeVries is terrific. He is one of the best players in the country. Seems like Drake has had multiple kids there for a long period of time. They're experienced. They have a lot of cohesion. And they're well coached. They beat a good Indiana State team. They took it to them. They can score multiple ways. They can put it on the floor. They can hit the three. They're just really good at every level offensively. But I'll tell you what, Washington State is really good too, man. Miles Rice, Isaac Jones. They beat some really good teams out in the Pac-12 this year. Beating Arizona twice was kind of one of the top of the list for them. This is a tough game, really tough game. We always have to kind of look at the next round, and do we actually feel like that team can beat the 2 seed in the next round? Look, I thought Washington State with the right draw could have maybe went deep in this tournament. This is a tough draw, though. I think Washington State will find a way here, but this is such a coin flip game. And that said, I don't think they're going to beat Iowa State in the next round. I'll pencil Iowa State in as well. The reason for that is this is kind of an interesting game because South Dakota State, T.J. Otzelberger, who's the coach at Iowa State, used to be at South Dakota State. So he's kind of facing his old team here. His old assistant, Eric Henderson, is there. He knows South Dakota State quite well. He knows that system that he perfected there. I think that really lends well to Iowa State. Look, I thought what they did yesterday was super impressive to Houston. They put them in a blender and never looked back. They have great guard play. They're elite defensively. Mamlakovic is a terrific player, kind of an interesting kid on the wing for them. And whenever you play Iowa State, I'm always going to look at turnover rate for the team they're playing because they're going to blitz the ball handler as soon as he crosses the half-court line. Look, this wasn't one of your better South Dakota State offensive teams. I think they're going to have trouble in this game. 16 is about where I would have put it. I would have threw it around 15 and a half. 16's kind of right where it should be. I think it's a tough game from a standpoint of the ATS side, but Iowa State will move on in this one. Let's go down to the next region. It is the West? Correct. Carolina, the overall 1 seed in this bracket. They will face the winner of Howard University and Wagner. Wagner's a 3.5-point dog in that game. Howard, good basketball team. Look, they beat Norfolk State 2 straight years out of the MEAC conference. Howard is a team that can really score. Offensively, they're really good. You're going to have to not turn the ball over, though. Howard has turnover issues, and whenever you play Wagner, really doesn't matter if Bashir Mason's there, Donald Copeland's there. They force turnovers. That's just what they do. That said, the game really only matters Tuesday due to the fact that neither one of these teams is going to beat Carolina. So we'll pencil in Carolina in our bracket. I want to say hello to some people in the chat. Razor Sharp Picks, my man. Good to see you, brother. How's everything with you? Hope you had a good weekend. Mike Johnson says it's DeVries. Who cares? There's nothing worse than the fucking pronunciation, please. I don't care, brother. Honestly, we all speak differently. Thanks for the advice, Mike Johnson, but is it that big a deal? Who cares? DeVries, whatever. People don't pronounce my name right. I don't make a big deal about it. It is what it is. Brandon Whedon, what's going on, my man? Nunya, what's up? Bear in mind, BYU beat Iowa State, who has the number 1, and Houston with the number 2 defense. Bear in mind, BYU beat Iowa State and Houston. Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, they didn't actually beat Houston, I don't believe, but I don't know. I guess you could pretend they did. I guess if that makes you feel better. They didn't beat Houston. They lost to Houston 75-68. So I think it's important, K. Reed, you bear in mind that they didn't beat Houston. Um, as far as beating Iowa State, yeah. Listen, I didn't tell you that if you want to take BYU, you're more than welcome. Listen, if they're making threes tonight, they'll beat anybody. Or Thursday or Friday, they'll beat anybody. I just think Duquesne's kind of a tough out, you know. But hey, you're welcome to do what you want to do then, K. Reed. Jacqueline, how are you? Wiggins World, what's going on? What's your biggest upset pick this year? Well, so far I picked Duquesne. I think they upset BYU. Let's get to a few more. We'll see who I like. Mississippi State, Michigan State. Obviously, you have to foreshadow a little bit in this tournament, right? Do you think the next team? Let's say Mississippi State's my picker. Do I see them beating North Carolina? I got to tell you, I think Mississippi State could beat North Carolina. I really do. Mississippi State is a team that gave some of these up-tempo teams a lot of trouble in the SEC this year. Plus, they're a bear on the offensive glass. The problem is Carolina's really good on the glass as well. I don't think it'll happen. I'm going to pick Carolina to advance in that game as well. But I think Mississippi State will beat Michigan State. Michigan State has issues rebounding the basketball. I think when the rubber meets the road, I think you kind of flip on the guards. I think Mississippi State's slightly better. I like Chris Jans a lot. We always hear his own March. This could be a tough game. But again, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think this 8-9 matchup means that much because generally, I don't think they're going to beat the 1 seed. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. A lot of people are going to call this an upset. I don't think you're that off on it. I think Grand Canyon's really good. They can obviously hang around in this game. Time Grant Foster's really good. But listen, St. Mary's is on another level. I think this is a really good St. Mary's team. I'm going to be really interested to see if they ever get Josh Jefferson back. I think he's a guy that if he comes back, this could make this team into a team that can make a real run. I think even without him coming back, this team's going to make a run. You look at what they did in the non-con. This is a team that beat New Mexico, and I think that's important because when we look down the road in this tournament, if St. Mary's beats Grand Canyon, they're likely to get Alabama. Alabama and New Mexico are very similar. This is St. Mary's team that's going to put the fucking brakes on it. They're going to make you play in the half court. They got a great 3-point defense. They're big. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country. I think Grand Canyon will hang for a while, but I don't think they will ultimately beat St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's is very good. I have them actually going pretty far in this tournament. St. Mary's beats Grand Canyon. Next one, Alabama, Charleston. This is about the worst matchup Charleston could have hoped for in this game. The one thing that Alabama does is run. This game is probably going to be first to 90 wins. This will be one of your high-scoring games of day 1 or 2. Charleston want to play a mile a minute as well. Both these teams shoot a ton of threes. Here's the thing, guys. This is where this game could get really interesting. You have a total at near 170. Both these teams are top 15 in the country in 3-point distribution as far as points are concerned. So what does that mean? It means that about 40% of their points are coming from the 3-point line. If they're making threes, they can score 95. If they're not, they can't score 60 sometimes. This is a really interesting game. One thing I know is Alabama is going to do a lot of what they want against Charleston. Will be a fun game, back and forth. I could see a situation where Charleston hits enough threes to hang in this game. Look, when you take an underdog in the NCAA tournament or really at any level in basketball, here's 3 things you need to look at. Does the team turn it over? Charleston, no, 30th nationally. Do they make threes? Charleston, yes, 37% in conference. Do they make free throws? 72.5%. Nothing special, but they do 2 of the 3. That can keep you in basketball games. I think Charleston can cover, but I think Alabama wins. So they will advance in our bracket. Next one, Clemson. This is a good one. Clemson, New Mexico. This is another game that I think is high scoring. You have a couple of high scoring games in this part of the bracket. A lot of offense in this game. PJ Hall, Clemson, they play pretty fast, very good in the half court, very efficient, get to the line a lot. New Mexico, very guard oriented, very downhill. We know they have great guards too. I really worry about Joe Girard defensively in this game for Clemson. He may get destroyed defensively. And I don't know that UNM have particularly strong guards either. Look, what they did in that tournament was really impressive. They ran through a really good Mountain West. You got to give them credit. I think New Mexico beat Clemson here. I don't think this is much of an upset either. I think New Mexico is the better team. Very good group. And look, as we know, the the ACC was down this season. Everyone likes New Mexico, it seems. Well, the brackets have only been out a couple of hours. But we'll get to some games I think a lot of people are going to be on. Dabby Cab, how are you? Hope all is well with you. By the way, shout out to all of our friends that are Irish. It is St. Patrick's Day today, wherein everyone is Irish. I didn't go out. I couldn't do 3 straight days. I was out Friday and Saturday, though. I'm curious at what it is like in my town. It's probably fun, but I didn't go out tonight. I'm here talking basketball with all of you instead. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay, Baylor Colgate. This is a autoplay for me. Baylor advances. If you look in this tournament, Colgate struggles mightily with athletic, physical teams. They just have trouble. That's not a conference that has a lot of athletic players in it. You don't see the kind of size and athleticism like a team from the Big 12 is going to show you. Colgate generally gets punked in these tournaments, and they get punked bad. Arkansas beat them up a couple of years ago. They got blown out last year. This is just a tough ask for a team like Colgate. I don't think this is one of the better Colgate teams either. So Baylor advances. I think they crush Colgate. Dayton, Nevada. Nevada, obviously, very good end to the season. We know they have great guard play with Keenan Blackshear and Jared Lucas, 2 guys that are really good. They get to the free throw line. That's one thing about Nevada you got to give them credit for. They are so damn good at getting to the line. Third nationally in free throw attempt, the field goal attempts. And look, they're good at the line. I mean, you look at Blackshear and Lucas, both very good free throw shooters. You look at Lucas, near 90%. That's the kind of guy you want late in the game. Now, Dayton is a team that had a couple of leases on life. I've waited for Dayton to kind of figure things out. I thought this team, they had some really good wins in the non-con, beat LSU, beat St. John's, beat SMU, beat Cincinnati. Their 1 loss or 2 losses were to Northwestern and Houston, 2 tournament teams. But I didn't think they played that bad in the Houston game. This is a really tough one. I think a 7-10 game, these 7-10 games are always hard to call, aren't they? And as far as the next game, I think both these teams could give Arizona some trouble. I'm going to have Dayton advancing here. I just feel like, to me, I'll take Deron Holmes. I don't know if Nevada will have an answer for Deron Holmes. I think Dayton this year has a better offensive team than they normally do. Look, it's not the Obi Toppin team, but they're still pretty damn good. And I think they could give Arizona some real trouble in the second round. Final game in this bracket, the 2:15. It's Arizona and it is Long Beach State. This game could, again, I think Arizona can probably name their score here. Long Beach plays very fast, which is very problematic. This Long Beach team gave up 88 to San Diego State, 92 to Louisiana. Iona put up 76 on them. So this is a bad defensive team, Long Beach. Got to give them credit. They were going to fire Dan Munson, and then they go to the NCAA tournament. Arizona wins and moves on. They should win big. They're going to probably be an 18 to 20 point favorite in this game. All right, let's go to the next bracket. We are through 2 first rounds so far. We've done the West and we have done the East. Now we head to the South, where the number 1 seed is the Houston Cougars. By the way, feel free to let me know in the chat who you like. Who do you like to win? Who do you like to get to the Final Four? Maybe a sleeper, some Cinderellas. Let me know what you think. All right, Houston Longwood. All right, so look, one of the best bets in the country year after year is Houston in the non-conference. They absolutely pulverize teams. They hold bad offenses to like 45 points a lot of the time. Look, whenever you play Houston, if you turn the ball over at a high rate, you're not going to have success. I'm very concerned about Longwood here. This has the ability to be the worst blowout of the first round. Look, I like Griff Aldrich a lot. I think he's a really good coach. And, year after year, he sends teams to the NCAA tournament. They last went to the NCAA tournament, what was it, in 2022? But we look at what happened in that game. They got fucking boat raced by Tennessee, who is very similar defensively, always good defensively to like Houston. I think Houston kind of punks Longwood here. I think Longwood could struggle to get to 50 in this game. This is going to be extremely difficult. Houston moves on, and I felt like 22, 21 might be a little low in this game. This game has all the possibilities of being like 78, 49 or something. Like I think Houston rolls here. All right, Nebraska, Texas A&M. I'll tell you right now, I don't think it's crazy to think that either Nebraska or A&M could beat Houston. What's interesting is Houston actually played Texas A&M in the non-conference, and Texas A&M played really, really well in that game in a losing effort, 70-66. You look at A&M, they had 17 offensive rebounds. Tyrese Radford didn't play in that game, and they only lost by 4. I mean, Tyrese Radford's a great player. That said, to get Houston, they're going to have to beat Nebraska, and I think they're going to beat Nebraska. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I think Texas A&M is very underrated. If you cannot rebound the basketball, you are going to get fucking destroyed. It's that simple. This team grabs 42% of their misses. That is number 1 in the country by a wide margin. If you're not good on the defensive glass, you are going to have issues. And I'll tell you right now, if I'm Fred Hoiberg, I am going to lose sleep over Texas A&M grabbing 20 offensive rebounds in this game. Nebraska is not a good rebounding team. The problem that they have a lot of the time is outside of Rink Mast, they don't have any strong rebounders. Juwan Gary, I guess, is okay, but this is not a good defensive rebounding team. They were 11th in the Big 10, 223rd nationally. It's just not a great matchup to me if you're Nebraska. Throw in the fact that A&M plays very slow. They're going to take this game to a grinding halt. They're a good defensive team. Look, is this a vintage A&M defense? No, I think they're still pretty damn good. And one other thing I really like, they can defend without fouling. It's very important. Throw in the fact that to me, they have the best player on the court in Wade Taylor, a guy who can drop 40 at any point. Give me the Aggies of A&M to advance in this one. Tommy Two Shoes says, give me A&M. Razor Sharp Pick says, Kansas is losing in the first round. Well, we're going to get to that. Razor, just stand by here. Connor Mack, what's up, Connor Mack? He says, hit that like button. 200 in here, only 45 likes. Yes, hit that like button, please. It'd be very, very helpful if you did that. Thank you, guys. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, Pub Search Radio would greatly love to have you. This is a great community here. We have shows of all sorts. I've enjoyed working with Pub Sports. I like kind of the ownership. I've known them for a long time. So come aboard and enjoy what everybody's doing here on the channel. All right, next one, Wisconsin JMU. Obviously, JMU is going to be a team a lot of people are going to consider is a great upset special. Remember, this is a team that beat Michigan State, first game of the year. Okay, this is a team that can pull off an upset. They had the nation's longest winning streak at one point, not once, but twice. And they do have the nation's longest winning streak. They haven't lost in 13 games. Mark Bennington has a very good team. They're elite on both ends. One thing I love about this team is great three-point defense, really going to wall you off, throw you off the three-point line, and they can score at a really high level. We look back to that Michigan State game. You guys remember that game? Michigan State was 1 for 20 from 3. This is a Wisconsin team that started to score and shoot the ball at the right time. I wonder, though, and I think they'll try to kind of tell you, they want this game tomorrow. All this time off, I think, could hurt them a little bit. I like both these teams. You know, Wisconsin really grew on me towards the end of the year. AJ Storr, I think, gives them kind of a value that they haven't had before. I'll tell you this, I kind of like the over a little bit in this game. I think both these teams can score efficiently. And Wisconsin really doesn't, I mean, they don't need to shoot the three ball to win. This is a team that was 229th in three-point attempts to field goal attempts. They're not a three-point offense. They don't shoot that many a lot of the time. And look, they're always experienced. They have a high basketball IQ. This is a tough game. I think Wisconsin finds a way to win this one, but I think JMU will keep it close. I think this is like a 74-71 type of game. I think Wisconsin will advance, though. Very impressive team towards the end of the season. We got to give Greg Gard some credit. Okay, Duke, Vermont. One thing about Vermont that I've always noticed is under John Becker, they are never run off the court a lot of the time athletically. And I think that's something that I like about them. The problem that Colgate has is a lot of the time they recruit the same type of players, Colgate, long, white kids, lengthy white kids. UVM is able to go out and get transfers to come in there that have played in some of these bigger conferences or in these more guard-oriented conferences. They have a little flavor. Vermont is a team that will not be scared in this game. It's just not something John Becker teams do. The problem is, I don't think this is one of the stronger Vermont teams. Look, if you're Becker, you're going to try to get this game to a grinding halt, but I don't think Duke has any problem playing in the half court either. We all know Duke is gigantic. Vermont is one of the smaller teams in this tournament. I think Filipowski will wear on them. And look, Duke's going to advance. Vermont can hang around, though. They're going to probably be, 11 to 13-point dogs in this game, probably. Look, Vermont can hang in this game due to the fact that, they don't turn it over and they value the basketball. But you have to wonder, can they score efficiently in this game? This is a team that lost to Bradley. This is a team that lost to Liberty. This is a team that lost by 22 to Virginia Tech. I don't think this is going to be much of an issue for Duke. Duke moves on. All right. Texas Tech, NC State. How about this one? This is a tough game to call for me because we obviously saw how good DJ Burns was. We saw how good North Carolina State was at the end of the season. Kevin Keats was some real magic. Listen, I don't know what Warren Washington's status is. I think having him in this game could be so important for Texas Tech due to the fact that Burns is such a load and Warren Washington is, 7 foot and can really give you some good minutes in this one. You have to ask yourself, how healthy is he, though? This is not a Texas Tech team that I think a lot of people bought into, but I thought they played pretty well towards the end of the season. It seemed like they started playing better defense and offensively, they're really good. One thing you can't do against Texas or against NC State is turn the ball over. Texas Tech didn't do that. They protected it all year in a conference where you're playing, hawking defenses like Iowa State and Houston and groups like that. So this is a tough matchup for me. It sucks that I have to pick it. As far as the next round, I don't know that either of these teams would beat Kentucky anyway. So I don't know if it's that important. It's a tough game to call. I'll ride the momentum of NC State here to get the job done, but I think if Warren Washington plays, I might be flipping my pick in this one, but we're picking all the games, so I'll go with NC State. All right. Kentucky, Oakland. So Oakland runs a zone. It would not be in their best interest to zone Kentucky. But the problem is with Campy, I don't know where else you go. I think that's kind of the problem. I think Oakland could score efficiently too, though. I think this is another high-scoring game. We know Kentucky picks and chooses when they play defense. And they could just use their sheer athleticism to get some stops in this game. That said, I think it's going to be concerning to zone them. I think Kentucky moves on here. Not a game I'll be playing really from a side standpoint or anything. I just don't trust Kentucky enough defensively. But I think they'll beat Oakland just because they're such an elite shooting team and Oakland's going to zone them. Florida will play the winner. Florida, I think, got a little shafted in this. A 7 seed's it's pretty low for them, to be fair. And then you look at this other. I mean, why the fuck is Boise in a playing game? What the fuck? I mean, what is going on here? Boise, Colorado is an interesting matchup, man. I mean, two teams that, Colorado was playing great really up until, the game last night that they lost to Oregon. I mean, they had been playing really well. They had won like 7 in a row, beat Washington State. Two really good teams. And I think two teams that could beat Florida. Another game. Look, whenever you play Florida, obviously, if you don't rebound the basketball, you're going to have major trouble. Florida, another team, hawking team as far as on the glass. Colorado, very good defensive rebounding team. Boise State, I believe, as well, is a very good rebounding team. Yeah, both these teams, very good rebounding teams. Something tells me one of these teams beats Florida. I think both these teams could beat Florida. I'm going to pick the Boise, Colorado winner to beat Florida. And I don't think it's going to matter that much because I'll tell you right now, and I'll make this very clear, I think Marquette is going to go very far in this tournament. I think they have a pretty damn good draw in this tournament. They're going to beat West Kentucky. This could be a high-scoring game. Steve Lutz's teams play one of the fastest tempos in this tournament. But I think they're going to be in over their head in this one. Look, if not for a crazy run last night, I think they would have lost to UTEP. Look, woulda, coulda, shoulda. They didn't know. They won. This is a tough ass, though. They're not going to beat Marquette. Marquette advances. All right, let's go down to the final bracket. It is the Midwest, and it is an interesting Midwest. Before we get to it, though, I want to shout out a few comments here. Nunya says, "We be pubbin'. We be pubbin'." Shout out to him. Kyle Freeman says, "I think A&M is going to go on a deep run. Appreciate you doing this, Nate, dude. Look forward to your bracket previews every year." Thank you, Kyle Freeman. Cheers to you. Mike Johnson says, "Jeff, is the Pac-12 overrated?" Absolutely. There's a shitty Pac-12 this year. I think there were a lot of decent teams. That's about it. Are they overrated? No, I don't think anyone's going to ever come out and say the Pac-12 is a great conference. All right. Let's go to the Midwest. Let's start out with Purdue. Can we just automatically pencil them in to beat a 16? I make a weird joke, but no, we can. They're not going to lose to a 16 seed this year. Montana State or Grambling. I think it'll be Montana State beating Dante Jackson and Grambling. But look, give them some credit, man. That was a nice win last night against Texas Southern. Montana State, I think went on a nice run. Look, are they the best team in the Big Sky? I can't say they are. It really is not going to matter, though. They're not going to lose to a 16 seed this year. They have that chip on their shoulder very few teams have ever had. In fact, only one other team has had. Utah State, TCU. I think you'll hear a lot of people say that these could be teams that could knock Purdue off. Look, it's going to take a monumental effort to beat Purdue. We've seen, obviously, a lot of people that are uneducated tell you that they're going to lose because they lost last year, like that means anything. Purdue lost in a buzzer beater the other night to Wisconsin, a team they beat twice in the regular season. Things like that happen. Look, Great Osobor is a good player, but we have to wonder, what would he do against a Zach Edey? I think he's going to have a much more tough run of it. TCU is not a team I'm interested in. Purdue will just outwork them and they're just better athletically than they are. It really doesn't matter. I'll take Utah State just because I like Osobor. I think he's a better player than anyone TCU has. But it's really not going to matter because neither of them are going to beat Purdue. Gonzaga, McNeese. Okay, look, obviously, if you know me, I've talked about McNeese all year. I think this team could go on a run. I think this is one of the worst matchups Gonzaga could ask for. That said, do I actually think McNeese can beat Gonzaga? Well, listen, I think one thing you have to do when you look at games like this is you have to ask yourself, okay, how did McNeese do against a top-tier competition? They didn't really play anyone. The best team they played in the non-conference was VCU, a team in which they beat 76-65. Listen to some of these games they played in the non-conference. Western Carolina, which they lost. Texas State, which they won. Louisiana Tech, they lost that game. They did beat UAB, a team that's in the tournament. That's a nice win. But listen to some of these other games. They beat something called LaTournau, Biblical Studies, whatever that is, and something called the Mississippi University for Women. So they actually beat a women's team. I kid, it wasn't a women's team. It's men that go to a school called the Mississippi School for Women. Bizarre. But that said, I mean, not a lot here. Throw in the fact that if you know anything about McNeese, they're in a conference where they're going to get a lot of calls because it's very downhill, very guard-oriented. A lot of fouls are called. Gonzaga doesn't foul you. Gonzaga's not going to put you on the line. I think McNeese could hang for a while. I think this is a bad matchup for Gonzaga, possibly, but I also think it's a pretty bad matchup for McNeese. I would have liked them to have played like, I don't know, like someone else other than Gonzaga, a team that's just been rolling offensively. I don't know if McNeese has an answer for the bigs for Gonzaga. And let's just be honest, Shahada Wells is a good player, but is he Gonzaga level good? I don't think. I think Gonzaga will move on. I think it'll be probably a close game, though. It pains me to say that because I like McNeese a lot, but I think Gonzaga moves on here. All right, this is going to be a lot of trendy people's upsets. I'm here to tell you I don't think it's going to happen. Here's why. Remember that Kansas essentially threw in the towel in the Big 12 to get ready for the NCAA tournament. I think they'll both get McCullough and Hunter Dickinson back. And if they do, they will beat Samford, and they will probably cover against Samford. Here's the issue. It's super hard as a team like this to beat a team like Kansas. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think it's important to realize that Samford played two teams in the NCAA tournament. One of them was, sorry, not two teams, one team that's in the NCAA tournament in Purdue, and they lost 98-45. Okay. Let's stop pretending like they played anybody good. This team had an overall 268th strength of schedule. Their non-con strength of schedule was 330th. Outside of Purdue, they did not play an NCAA tournament team. You also look at the fact, I mean, they struggled in the regular season against Furman at times. Look, they play fast, but one thing that's going to do is that's going to play right into Kansas's hands. Look, if Kansas doesn't have certain players, then yeah, I think Samford could maybe pull off a cover or maybe even an upset. But I'm going to pencil in Kansas here. I think they beat Samford. A lot of people will tell you Samford's going to be an upset special, but I guess I'll ask you, I mean, can you explain how they're going to do it? I mean, they had one of the worst strength of schedules all year. Now, you give Bucky McMillan a lot of credit, but when you play fast, that can play right into your opponent's hands. Because if you play fast, what does that mean? That's going to give your opponent more possessions as well. And that opponent, let's just be honest, is a better offense than you are. So I'm going to lean Kansas to win and move on. I don't think much more needs to be said. South Carolina, Oregon. Oregon, obviously, back in the tournament, we know they're going to zone South Carolina. Which I think could be concerning for South Carolina. We know they're very good defensively. They want to play in the half court. I think this is a lower scoring game. What's up with Nafale Dante? Will he play in this game? We don't really know. That said, I don't know that's going to matter because I think Creighton will beat both these teams. I'm going to pick South Carolina, though. I like what Lamont Paris was able to do all year. I think Oregon was a team that just kind of got hot at the right time. I think they could probably tell you they want this game tomorrow, not what is it, Friday or whenever. I think South Carolina moves on here. Creighton, Akron. I think Akron should really kiss the feet of that kid for Kent State who didn't know the score and fouled. That was how they were allowed to advance in this tournament. I'll tell you this, Enrique Freeman is a really good player. Ali is really good as well for John Gross, the former coach who was at Illinois. Creighton's really good. I'll tell you this, though. Here's the issue with Creighton. A lot like, another team we talked about in Brigham Young, just very dependent on threes. Look, if the threes are going in, they'll beat anybody. But if the threes are not going in, they can lose to anybody. This is an elite Akron three-point defense. Okay. Listen, I think Akron's a good cover. I think they cover in this game. Do I think they win? It's going to be a tall task. I'm going to take Creighton, but don't be surprised if Akron hangs around. I think this is a more likely upset than the Kansas one. Texas, who will play the winner of UVA, Colorado State. Let me tell you this. I think Virginia will beat Colorado State. Here's Colorado State's issue in this game. Colorado State is a very downhill, put your head down, get to the hoop. You're not doing that against Virginia. They're going to put that pack line out there, and they're going to say, make jump shots. It's not really Colorado State's game. They're not a good defensive team either. Virginia's going to beat Colorado State. That said, can they beat Texas? I think this is kind of a weak Texas team. We all know that. But hey, look, we've seen Max Abmas win some games. And listen, for Texas, this is a new lease on life. It wasn't the greatest season for them under Roddy Terry, but they have a new lease on life. They are a team, Texas, who I think are a little bit more inclined to be able to beat a Virginia. They can make jump shots. They're a great three-point shooting team. And they value the basketball. If I told you Texas had the number one effective field goal percentage in the Big 12, would you believe me? They did. I think Texas will beat Virginia. So we'll pencil in Texas to beat the winner of UVA, Colorado State. Texas, your winner. Creed Bratton, $5. He sent in, says, big fan they do. Graham Ike eats McNeese alive, leading to a matchup with Kansas. Yes, I agree with you on that. It sucks because I really like McNeese, but I really like Mark Few too, so I think they get the job done. All right, this is the final game of the first round, and it is two teams that I adore in St. Peter's and Tennessee. You know, I'll say this until the day I die, man. St. Peter's, the kids they attract there are so damn good defensively. Every kid they have on this roster is like 6'5" or bigger. They're all long and skinny, and physical, man. I mean, they just are harassing when you have the basketball. Keep in mind, guys, from a block rate standpoint, block percentage, this is a top 30 team. This is the number one team in the MAC defensively. Bashir Mason is relentless. They're going to press, press, press. Here's the thing, too, okay? They're going to slow this game to a crawl, something that Tennessee struggled with. Tennessee struggled this season when teams made them play in the half court. Look at the game against South Carolina. Look at the game against Mississippi State, a game they lost 2 times to Mississippi State in. Texas A&M slowed them down. I'm telling you guys, Tennessee better watch themselves in this game because St. Peter's has won these games before. Mohamed Sow is a terrific shot blocker, man. Look, I think 18.5 is crazy. I think that's a lot of points. Look, if Tennessee can kind of play the pace they want, look, they could win this game going away. And look, if St. Peter's falls into a jump shooting game, I think the under is the best play in this game. I think both these teams are great defensively, and both these teams will struggle at times, I think, to score. Graham Ike. Tennessee has Dalton Connect. St. Peter's doesn't. I think Tennessee moves on, but I don't think it's going to be easy for a time. All right, let's go back up to the UConn bracket, and we'll start with the second round. We'll speed it up a little bit here. UConn FAU. UConn's going to advance. Again, I don't think UConn. I don't think they repeat. I think they're still going to go very far, though. And FAU is a team that, again, I think if they get by Northwestern, they're just not very good defensively. I think UConn will eat them alive in the half court. UConn advance. San Diego State, Auburn. This is an interesting game. Two really long, lengthy, good defensive teams. I think this one would probably be first to like 65 wins. San Diego State has certain principles that bothered Auburn. That said, Auburn also, though, just destroyed South Carolina in both games they played, a team that's kind of similar to San Diego State. Auburn's tough. Auburn's real tough. And you look at all their wins this year, I think all but one was by double digits. It's hard to do what San Diego State did. I just think they have too many net negatives on offense. I like Jalen Ledee a lot, but again, Auburn has a couple of kids his size. They can throw multiple bigs at him. I also just don't think we see the same performances from San Diego State's guards like we did last year. I think Auburn beats San Diego State, which sets up a great game against UConn. Duquesne and Illinois. Can Duquesne break through and get to the Sweet 16? What an upset it would be. We know Illinois struggles defensively. And again, Duquesne is going to grind this game to a halt. They have good guard play. I think it'd be interesting to watch Day Grant against like a Terrence Shannon type. Problem is Illinois is so long and so lengthy. They need to just care a little bit about defense, man. That's, I think, kind of their main thing. Shannon is electric, though. Illinois will beat Duquesne. But, hey, to me, Duquesne will get a tournament win at least. Washington State and Iowa State. Look, Iowa State is a team that I think is going to be really hard to beat. We always ask ourselves, again, when we play Iowa State, do you turn the ball over? Washington State, they were pretty solid, but they struggled kind of late in the season with turnovers. They really struggled in the half court against Colorado. I think they could really struggle in the half court here as well. They only got to the line 7 times. They had 19 turnovers in that game against Colorado. Not great. I think Iowa State beats Washington State. Let's go to the West. North Carolina, Mississippi State. Again, I think Mississippi State is tough. They're well coached. They have good guard play. And Chris Jans, just always attracts kids that can defend and they rebound. The problem is UConn is such a great rebounding team too, and I think they can really neutralize that. So I think North Carolina will beat Mississippi State, but I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be an interesting game. St. Mary's, Alabama. I think St. Mary's beats Alabama. I do. I think St. Mary's grinds this game to a halt. You're not going to do what you want to do. You're going to do what we want to do. Randy Bennett is a great game preparer. It'll be a quick turnaround, but I think this is an easier handicap. We've seen all year Alabama is completely lost on the defensive end. I don't like Alabama. I think Nate Oates is a bad coach. I don't think he adjusts anything. I think Bennett coaches circles around Nate Oates. Give me St. Mary's College to beat Alabama. Mike Johnson says, Jeff, I don't think you can trust Iowa State in the tourney. They don't have a great track record, and they've been hot. Think they are due for a letdown spot. You don't think you can trust Iowa State? Okay, well, hey, listen, man, good luck. I disagree with you there, but I think being hot is what you want. And Iowa State's been damn good all year. As far as coming off a high, there's a lot of teams that are coming off highs. But hey, good luck. New Mexico and Baylor. This should be a fun game. Two teams with great guard play: Ray J. Dennis, Jalen House, Jamal Mashburn. There's all sorts of great talent at the guard position here. The problem is Baylor is so athletic. They have so many kids, long pogo stick athletes. And we know Scott Drew is just a great tournament coach. I think Baylor will beat New Mexico. Good run for New Mexico, but I think they're going to just run into a super athletic, well-driven team. Remember, Ray J. Dennis, a guy I think is going to be really important to his team coming over from Toledo. He's a great guard. Dayton, Arizona. Another team that I think is a bit fraudulent, Arizona. Again, getting them out of McKale Center, which obviously this game is key. I think if you can, not run with a team, Dayton's not going to run with Arizona. Mark that down. They're going to make them play in the half court. Dayton, as I said, better offensively this year than they've been in years past, really since the Obi Toppin team. And look, good defensively. Something tells me Dayton beats Arizona. I'm gonna pick Dayton to beat Arizona here. I really think they can do it. I don't think Arizona. Look, Caleb Love's really good. I'm not gonna tell you he's not. There's just something about Arizona. I think they pick and choose when they defend. I don't like it. I also don't think Arizona would beat Baylor anyway. I think Baylor will beat Dayton or Arizona. So I think I'm okay with this one. I don't think it means that much. I didn't have Arizona to like the Final Four or anything. I just, I think they're better than they were last year, but I don't think they're that much better. Let's go to the South. Pick our second round games there. Houston, Texas A&M. This is a rematch. I'm going to pick another upset here. Look, guys, I love Houston. I have them at 20-1. I'm going to pick an upset. I really want to. Hold on. Don't pick this one yet. You always ask yourself, can A&M break through and do it? I think Houston will rebound enough. This is going to be a great game, and I see Jose's picking both of them. He doesn't know where I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to take A&M. I think they beat Houston. Something tells me with Radford, they didn't have him the first time. They only lost by 4. Without Tugler, I think, again, it becomes very problematic for Houston. Their defense isn't as, I think, elite as it maybe it should be. They foul a lot. I've talked about that. And now they're going to have to play a team at Texas A&M who, again, relentless on the offensive glass, has Wade Taylor, and they are very good at getting to the free throw line. 3rd in the SEC, 48th nationally. I think this is a tough matchup. I think A&M beats Houston, and Kelvin Sampson is evaded for yet another year without winning a title. Wisconsin and Duke. I think Duke has a decent draw the first couple of games here. Wisconsin, team that's hot, but I think Duke's just a better version of them. I think Duke, it'll get harder as it goes on here, but I think Duke will beat Wisconsin. But hey, if Wisconsin keeps making threes the way they have, they can beat Duke. I think Duke will win though. Let's pick them to advance here. No, pick Duke. Pick Duke. Sorry. Did I say Wisconsin? My bad. All right, NC State, Kentucky. Another team doesn't run out here. I feel like Kentucky, you got to kind of pick your poison with them. You can't zone them because they'll shoot the lights out. Pressing them, I think that's probably problematic as well. I don't think it's out of the. I think Kentucky could punk NC State. I also think they have plenty of bigs that can kind of bang with DJ Burns. That's if NC State even gets through Texas Tech. Either way, whoever wins that game, I don't think they'll beat Kentucky. Kentucky eventually will have to guard somebody, but I'm not that worried about them here. And I feel like if they kind of play defense and they say they're going to play defense and they do, I think they're actually okay. It's just sometimes they don't care that much about it, so they don't play it. Boston, Boise, Colorado State winner, which I think it'll be Boise. So it'll be Boise, Marquette. Marquette's going to advance. Getting Collect back will be huge. We saw how good they were. They have so many players: Stevie Mitchell, Cam Jones, Iguodala, David Joplin, and adding in Collect back to the mix. I think Marquette is very, very, very dangerous. All right, let's go to the final one. Midwest. Let's pick our second round matchups there. Purdue, Utah State. Again, Purdue's going to beat Utah State. Great Osterboard will be neutralized. He's going to have a lot of trouble with Zachary Edey. Gonzaga, Kansas. This would be a good game. Again, I'm going to pick Gonzaga to beat Kansas. I think this is where they kind of run out of gas, Kansas. Pick your poison here. Two good teams, two teams that at times underachieved this year. But with EK, with a really strong core, I think Gonzaga is just a little bit better around the rim. Give me Gonzaga to beat Kansas. South Carolina, Creighton. Look, with South Carolina, again, it's all down to they're going to take this game to a grinding halt. Look, I don't think it's much of a problem for Creighton. Creighton can operate in half court. South Carolina, not a strong three-point defense. I think Creighton, as long as they can make some shots, which, again, as long as any team makes shots, they can win the game. But I think South Carolina eventually will have to score, and I just don't think they can keep up with Creighton. Give me Creighton to beat South Carolina. Texas, Tennessee. Good matchup for Tennessee here. This is where Texas's run ends. They do get one win, but it ain't going to be very long. Tennessee is strong. We know how good Dalton Connect is. We know their defense is solid. Tennessee moves on. Let's go to the next round. UConn, Auburn. This should be a classic, right? This would be a good one. Auburn is tough. We know they are. But again, UConn just has so many different ways they can beat you. I think the luck runs out for Auburn. I think UConn's just better than they are. Give me UConn to beat Auburn and advance to what? Is this the Elite Eight? Next one. Illinois and Iowa State. Kind of a clash of styles here. Illinois play fast, very good offensively. They can make shots all over the place. Iowa State going to work you into the half court. If they could turn you over, it could be lights out for you. Illinois, a team who, look, just very much value the ball. Look, if I told you Illinois was third in the country in defensive efficiency, would you believe me? Or offensive efficiency? They're that good on offense. This is kind of great offense versus great defense. I think Iowa State gets knocked off here. I'm going to take Illinois to beat Iowa State. Illinois just has kind of the feel of a team that's going to make a run. We know they have a player who's kind of played through some adversity. Shannon seems like a kid that's just going to kind of will his team. By the way, is anyone other than Gerald Jones in the chat? All I see is Gerald Jones comments. Is anybody else in the chat? What's going on here? Thank you to Gerald Jones for all the comments, but where is everybody? Doesn't Illinois turn the ball over a lot? No, they don't. Illinois is going to beat Iowa State. Iowa State's luck runs out here. All right. Carolina and St. Mary's. This is tough, man, because I have a situation where I feel like St. Mary's can go all the way to the Final Four. But this is going to be a spot where I think it runs out for them. Carolina is just the difference for them this year is how good they are on defense. I was really impressed all year with how good they were. I think this is where St. Mary's may miss Josh Jefferson too. Look, it could all change if they get him back. He's a really important player. I think for this though, the athleticism will just kind of wear on them. Carolina's kind of, I think we relate a little bit to Gonzaga a little bit. We saw Gonzaga kind of beat them up in the second game. Give me Carolina to beat St. Mary's, but a great run for St. Mary's, at least with me. Baylor, Dayton. I'm going to pick Baylor to advance here. I like Dayton, but I think this is where they just run into a better offensive team. Dayton has Deron Holmes, but as I mentioned, Baylor has all sorts of athletes that I think can combat him a little bit. And again, I don't think this is an elite Dayton defense as normal. I think Baylor's just better. We'll take them to advance here. All right. A&M and Duke. This could be Duke Houston, and if it is, that would be a great game. I think we'd have a lot of Houston fans around the country because everyone hates Duke. I almost won Houston to beat A&M. You know what? Let's change our pick. Let's go back to Houston A&M. I can't do it. I got to take Houston. I can't do it. I think Houston wins a very close game. Houston Duke. I know I just changed that, but I can do what I want. It's my bracket. Houston Duke. This, I think, is actually a decent matchup for Houston. I think Houston's just more physical. I think they'll push Filipowski around a little bit. I think this is where Duke also has issues defensively. We've seen that kind of creep up on them at times this year. I think this is a better matchup than, to me, like Texas A&M is a tough matchup for Houston. I think Duke is a easier matchup for Houston. I think Houston beats Duke. Chris Comantini says Duke is soft. I agree. I think they are I think Filipowski's very soft. Hey, Gunsmoke, my boy. What's going on, Gunsmoke? Thanks for jumping in, bro. He says, do you guys like basketball? Of course we like basketball. That's why we're here, pal. Hope you're doing well, DV boy. UK, Marquette. UK, not UK. Kentucky against Marquette. All right. So we all know, look, the elephant in the room. This is where Kentucky's bad defense catches up to them, to me. I'm going to just say it, guys. I think Marquette can win the entire fucking thing. I really do. And I'm going to tell you something. Guess who I think they're going to get in the final? Guess you have to wait and see. I think Marquette beats Duke. I think Marquette's really good. And I think Kolek just kind of sat and waited, and they still got to the tournament final. And remember, they played UConn twice without Kolek. Could they get him for a fourth time in the national title game? I guess you have to wait and see. I like Marquette. I think they beat Kentucky. I'm very high on Marquette in this tournament. So that means they'll probably lose in the first round. Purdue, Gonzaga. This is where Gonzaga's run will end. Another good showing for Mark Few, but another year where they're going to be caught just away from the Final Four. Purdue means business. They have Zach Edey. They just seem like a team that are going to have a chip on their shoulder the entire tournament. Braden Smith, Lance Jones, Fletcher Lurie, he's still there. Just a lot of good wing talent as well. I think Purdue beats Gonzaga. Creighton, Tennessee. I think this is where Creighton's three-point shooting luck maybe runs out. Obviously we like Shireman and Kalkbrenner. Kalkbrenner's another guy who can be a little pushed around on the block. I think this is a game where Tennessee, just by having the best player, they move on. I think Tennessee beats Creighton and goes to the Elite Eight. All right, next one, UConn, Illinois. This is where Illinois' luck runs out to me. UConn is just, again, it's going to take a really great effort to beat Connecticut. They're just so good at every level. I think Klingon can have a big game here. I don't know if Illinois has much of an answer for him. Coleman Hawkins, more of a perimeter player. I think they move on. Carolina, Baylor. I love Baylor. Scott Drew, I think, has a great team, and I think they make a nice run, but I think this is where Carolina gets them. Carolina's so relentless on the boards, and again, very good defensively this year. I think Baycott goes out and has a deep run here. I think they beat Baylor and go to the Final Four. All right, Houston, Marquette. I like Marquette here. I think this is where Houston's issues offensively creep in. I just think Marquette has so many different kids that can beat you, and who knows who Houston will have back by then. The problem that you have with Marquette and the problem that presents itself for Houston is Marquette is just so good at every level on offense. They don't turn it over. They value the ball. They can hit you from three. They can hit you from two. They're pretty good at the line. And look, I think Marquette's better defensively than maybe we give them credit for. Plus, they turn you over at a high level. I think Marquette beats Houston. This is where the run ends for Kelvin. Marquette wins. Final four spot. Tennessee at Purdue. What a game this will be if we get it, wouldn't it? Here's the issue. Remember, these guys played back in Maui, and Purdue beat Tennessee 71-67. Here's what I said in that tournament. And one of the reasons I picked Purdue to win that game is Purdue has Zach Edey and Tennessee doesn't. It's that simple. You have the two best players in the country playing each other. Dalton Connect, and I think Lance Jones will do a good job on Dalton Connect. I think Tennessee's defensive issues will plague themselves here, and at least in this one. And they don't have Zach Edey. Purdue beats Tennessee. All right, Final Four is set. So we have the Final Four. We have Purdue, we have Marquette, we have UConn, and we have Carolina. Four storied programs, four very good programs. We got Bobby Hurley, we got Hubert Davis, we got Shaka, and we got Matt Painter. They dust off the chip on their shoulder and they go to the Final Four after losing in the first round last year. Logan says, I hate your bracket. Yeah, I'm sure you have all mid majors. What do you hate about it, Logan? You just say you hate it, but tell us why. Fair enough, though. It's your bracket. It's my bracket, luckily. All right, Final Four. Glendale, Arizona, April 6th. UConn, Carolina. What a titanic matchup this is going to be. Bobby Hurley. Not Bobby Hurley. Danny Hurley. Sorry. Got it wrong. Two Hurleys. Same family. UConn. Again, it's going to take a monumental effort. I don't think there's any shame in losing this game. It is what it is. I just think UConn is too good. I think they'll beat Carolina. It should be a great game. UConn close, but not or Carolina close, but not close enough. Look, we don't have much info. We don't know. Again, I'm looking at this straight. I'm just answering it blind. I think spreads play a lot of parts in these games. But I think UConn will beat Carolina. The other game, Marquette and Purdue. All right. So obviously Purdue with a lot of pressure by this point, right? Can they actually win the tournament after losing in the first round last year? Something just tells me that Marquette will game plan a decent way against Zach Edey. The problem is Zach Edey is a guy who, let's be honest. They didn't exactly do a decent job against Klingon. I just look at the pieces Marquette have, and I think they have more pieces than Purdue does. Something tells me Edey will get in foul trouble. Maybe we don't see him. I'm going to take Marquette to get to the title game, and guess who they're going to play? UConn for the fourth time. Guys, let me explain something. Marquette has lost 3 games this season to UConn, including last night in the tournament final. They lost 73-57. They ran out of gas, and they did not have their best player, and Tyler Kolek. We also go back to 2 other games where they got blown out, 81-53. And then the other game was 74-67, where they didn't have Kolek. That was the best game they played. What a great matchup this is going to be. 2 Big East teams. How about that? They didn't have many teams in the tournament, but they get to the final, and they got 2 Big East teams. This could very well be UConn Purdue. Would that be the best game maybe ever? UConn Purdue? Klingon against Edey? How sweet would that be? That said, it's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times. It's extremely hard to beat a team 4 times. We revisit the tweet that I put out. I cannot wait for Marquette to embarrass UConn. Well, that tweet was pretty embarrassing because no one's embarrassed UConn. But I think Marquette will do it. And I think Shaka cuts down the nets and Marquette beat UConn. As far as total points, we'll go 154. 154. That's going to be our bracket. Now, look, I think for all of us, I think we could love a Purdue Marquette or a Purdue UConn game. That would be fascinating. But again, this is all just for fun. Will I make changes on this? Maybe. Watch Jeff get all these right. Could you imagine if I did that? By the way, Pulse Search Radio is doing a bracket contest, and we urge you to check in and go sign up for it. Where can we do that at, Jose? Give me some info on that.
Yeah, you can sign up right now on the website, pubsportsradio.com. I'm already in, thankfully. Donating my $50 in there, but it's $50 for a bracket normally like you would do with all your buddies, and then there's another $50 entry for a confidence pool with the bracket as well. So you guys can go on the website, you see how the bracket pool numbers and all that's set up. It's going to be pretty fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, pubsportsradio.com, pubsportsradio.com. By the way, if you're here and you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe. Now, what we'll do, we'll figure out, we'll maybe do a show. Maybe we'll get some people, some different people from Pulse Search Radio. Maybe we'll do a pick show or something, maybe before these games tip off. But yeah, this is really just kind of fill the bracket out. Is that a Santos Laguna jersey? I think it is.
AOD, it's a good question. It's a Celtic jersey. Okay. Celtic, yeah. Yes. I do have one. Yeah. I will say that. But I actually explained to my girlfriend the difference between Celtic and the Celtics.
Yes.
Today that was a big good conversation topic, and she was also baffled at the fact that teams share stadiums as well, like the Clippers and the Lakers. She couldn't believe it. So
she couldn't believe it.
Yeah. She's like, how are the Clippers like viable and all this stuff? So it was a lovely conversation over here. Let me tell you, Jeff.
Wait, do you root for Santos Laguna?
No, I do have a jersey of theirs. No, but my sister's husband is a soccer commentator for Univision Deportes. So he gets like a bunch of jerseys shipped to him and sent to him and given to him by all these teams. So he's like, I don't wear these. Me, no, I'm from Venezuela.
Oh yeah, you told me that. That's right. Right. All right, beautiful. Well, good stuff. All right. So yeah, that's that. That's that for the picks, at least the bracket breakdown. And look, this is our first look at it. I'm sure we'll have more, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of content here on Pub Search Radio as far as that's concerned. So yeah, that's that. Thank you to Jose for being behind the scenes, clicking for us, and thanks to everybody for jumping in and hanging out with us tonight. That was a nice look at the tournament for the first time. Good luck. I'm sure we'll talk to you before then. Thank you for watching. This has been the College Basketball Countdown.